Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance to Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Psychopaths. Episode 8. And we're moving in. We're going hard through this main plot. Things are getting really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Makishima, and we are going to say the name right from now on. Makishima.
Yeah.
Makishima. I was just doing that to troll you guys in the beginning, guys. We've been reading the comments. We know we've been saying it wrong. Our bad. But Makishima has been really developing into a thoroughly interesting and multi-dimensional antagonist.
Yes.
I
feel like we need to still see a bit more of what he specifically wants to do. Because so far he's been waxing other people.
Yes, he's waxing philosophical about the state of society and humanity right now. But he hasn't gotten into the motivations thing yet. It's kind of like when you're finding a killer. What was their motive? Right now, Makishima's motive, little bit shaky right now. Let's see more concrete stuff in that. So we just kick off the episode?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Why do you find it so necessary to use students here as the subjects for your art?
Because this is an all-girl boarding school. What are your thoughts on Oso Academy's curriculum, Mr. Makishima?
It's a relic, but I can see how some rich parents might like its traditions.
Chastity and gracefulness. Classic virtues that are nearly extinct. Except for here at Oso Academy, where they're still taught and celebrated. In boys, these virtues have no value. Only in girls can they be cultivated. After which, we can be shipped out as replica antiques, refined pure maidens for wealthy older men to purchase, and turn into idealized partners for an archaic arrangement called marriage. Perhaps even the word antique is too charitable.
Tell us how you really feel.
Maybe it's better to describe them as mere components, pieces that can be sculpted into an artwork called the Lady.
That's an interesting perspective. I didn't know there was so much philosophy in your work. As for this latest piece of yours, have you decided where you'll display it?
I'm not sure yet, but it must be perfect. Out in the open, somewhere that will attract as much attention as possible.
That way he'll get caught.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's okay with that.
We haven't found a solid lead yet.
Here's the case's latest grim development. Got a tip that two sophomores never returned to their dorm the other night.
The school went to their parents' homes, but they weren't there. Those two might be our next victims.
You want to know what I think? Well, based on the matching chemical, I think it's looking more likely it's the culprit from the old case.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. My theory's the exact opposite of yours.
The opposite?
Yeah, for example, in the case 3 years ago, this guy was one of the victims. Lower house member, suspected of corruption, specifically falsifying his crime coefficient. They gave him the chance to get it remeasured out in the open, but he refused.
Oh.
The media and his rivals questioned him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He offered up cliche denials,
versus all the
saying
student
stuff like,
girls.
Not to my recollection. Next thing you know, they found his body. His skull sliced open like a ripe watermelon, and his brain cleanly scooped out. The autopsy discovered that the killer had taken the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, and shoved it up the poor guy's ass.
Yeah, it sounds kind of brutal.
Sasayama's death was just
Not artistic.
But each time the killer seemed to be sending a very specific message about the victim. It was sick, but literal enough for anybody to figure it out. These new murders lack the ironic sense of humor and clear messages of the earlier ones. They look like works of art, but they're too sterile and clinical. It's like there's something missing now.
And that is...
Creativity.
Originality.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
This place?
Is this your first time? Actually, I guess you never had any reason to visit. You know, once you or Gino decides I've worn out my welcome, I'll be thrown in here and never allowed in the outside world again.
Oh, new plot point.
Yeah, but why are we here right now?
I've got a hunch the way the bodies are arranged in our current case is actually based on some artwork. So I thought we'd get a real expert's opinion on it. We're entering the ward where they isolate patients with crime coefficients over 300.
Wow. Whoa. The people that normally would be
In case
just
of
killed.
emergency, the vents will flood the room with toxic gas. Basically, you're walking through a part-time execution chamber.
It seems like something that's going to be brought up later.
Yeah. Maybe Makishima's gonna release
Even
them.
if these guys could leave, they wouldn't last a second. The Dominators would immediately give an execution order and turn them into pink slush. But by spending their lives in a cage, at least they get to live.
But is that really living?
Not really.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
You've been busy with your art. Getting them on your back must have been hard.
I assure you, my body is quite flexible.
Wow.
I can get it onto my back as long as I have a mirror.
You see the news?
That's cool.
If the world does not show an appreciation for art, I won't appreciate it.
I'm looking for pieces similar to these bodies. Paintings, sculptures, illustrations, even stuff like movies, games, or comics.
These are good. They're exactly like Ruichi Orio's work.
Ever heard of him?
No.
I hope this guy becomes a main character.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, his daughter's
There's
at
a student
school.
at Oso Academy with the same last name. Kogami. It's the guy's daughter.
Seen any
Too
suspicious
easy.
men around campus? No.
I almost wonder how they
thank
weren't
you,
able to do
miss.
it sooner.
Hey, Cole!
I saw that coming.
That idiot.
I was like, watch this be Masayoka. That's gonna be just perfect.
We think a girl here's the killer.
What?
Hey, officer, you can't just march into the academy. Your boss told us you'd be delicate with this investigation. The students are already on edge as it is. You have to turn around.
Are you Rikiko Oreo?
And what is this about?
Honestly, how would they never have found her because of like the paintings that she does? Wow, yep.
Wow.
And pow.
Aim carefully and eliminate target.
No, you can't!
Wow. Are you kidding me?
Where's this camera looking?
The garbage disposal facility behind the dorms.
What the hell's she doing there?
Yeah, garbage disposal. That's one of those places that just automatically rings out serial killer hideout.
Exactly. Oh.
What?
That totally makes sense. Like that would be something they could do.
That's awesome.
And since no one would actually go over there, they'd never find out.
Right. Oh, holy crap.
Oh, it's a trap.
Help! Vice Principal! The police just found 2 more bodies on the academy grounds!
Oh no, not again.
He's like, and it is my time to scoot.
Nope. He's just gonna sit here and do some work.
What's wrong?
Some of the data is damaged. When Kanizuka first downloaded all of it, everything was in pristine shape.
It looks like all the damage has been done to the feed from the art room camera.
It's unwatchable. Hold on. This one. I think we can restore the audio.
Dang. Is
Makishima moved
making
fast.
a mistake? Well, but is he making a mistake?
Because this is an all-girl boarding school. What are your thoughts on Oso Academy's curriculum, Mr. Makishima?
There you go.
Boom.
Are you sure this is the right way? Chegu-san?
Oh, crap.
Rikiko Oreo, there's something I need to know before this is all over. Do you realize what you've done wrong? What you've done to disappoint me, your dear mentor?
What? What on earth are you talking about? I didn't do anything wrong.
Well, if you don't realize what you've done wrong, you certainly can't discuss it. My fears have sadly come true. Your growth has stunted. It's so depressing. When I first met you, I thought, here's a smart girl with great things in her future.
Wait, please, Mr. Makishima. If you're mad at me, I'm sorry.
I like this quote from Titus Andronicus. And so should I rob my sweet sons of their fee? No, let them satisfy their lust on thee.
Whoa.
Dang.
What is this?
What?
They told me here at dead time of night, 1,000 fiends, 1,000 hissing snakes.
Oh, hell no.
10,000 swelling toads.
Wait,
Those
seriously?
are mechanical.
Yeah.
Make such fearful and confused cries.
Okay, that was not what I expected.
Me neither.
Oh! Listen, fair madam. Let it be your glory to see her tears, but be your heart to them as unrelenting flint to drops of rain.
Until tonight, I was under the impression you liked Rikako.
Yes, but I found a more interesting toy.
Oh, Kogami.
I need you to get some information. The man from the MWPSB who came to school, he is an enforcer. I believe his name's Kogami.
An enforcer? Strange choice to set your sights on.
Okay.
But the man's instincts and intelligence are extremely impressive. I think Kogami should prove quite entertaining.
Okay,
so I really liked that.
That was really good.
That was awesome.
There was a lot of good philosophical diatribe between.
Yes.
They were it wasn't really diatribe. It was more of a monologue because each one, Rikako,
yeah, I think that's
Rikako,
right.
The artist, she had her moment where she went on about how women in this society are, at least with this old traditional way of looking at things, being essentially crafted for some to be some play toy basically. And I really have to hand it to them for not going a bit overboard with it, because that, I would say, makes a lot of sense. That's a very I understand where she's coming from,
right?
Like,
especially
really well.
Especially with how her and Makishima have been doing things of wanting to express their individuality. You know?
Well, not their individuality. You're making. I'm talking about their message individually, not the essence of who they are, but the message that they have that is more important than who they are. Because that's where I see them as being kind of tragic psycho idealists, where they have exactly, because the girl, her psychopath was 472 apparently, and we got at least the full core perspective of her vision with this art right before she died, of course, and it made sense in terms of her thought process as to why this was bad, but what she chose to do with it was, of course, what was wrong. She chose to murder and manipulate and do all these crazy things. But Makishima found her philosophy and her perspective interesting. So he sees a young mind. He doesn't really see a person's what their tools were. He didn't care about the girls that she was killing.
Right. He has in the same way that sort of makes sense of why he would then take interest in Kogami, because he doesn't care what the person's doing. It's all about how they think.
Exactly. So he seems to be playtesting different people in society who are deviants, essentially.
Okay.
There are people who are taking some part of their perspective and changing their area of society just a little bit.
Okay.
And that's, deviant and stuff like that. Not in the negative sense, guys, but in the sense that they're deviating from society.
Just different.
Exactly. Yeah. But then Titus Andronicus, I have to go back and make sure that's a real person. It more than likely is. But
it's Shakespeare.
It is Shakespeare?
Yeah. I don't know which one, but
oh, okay. Yeah. Well, from that instance there, when he started monologuing as she was being essentially executed, it brings to mind that Makishima, he sees what he's doing as right, but I almost don't think he cares about what's right and wrong.
I think it's
I feel
more
like
just
it's
that
about
he's amoral, and he more has like specific things that he values.
Yes, exactly. Value. Yeah. So because he values certain things above all others, and we don't know what those things are, completely, it allows him to essentially cheat the system. What I think it is maybe he's trained his mind to such an extent that he he truly is invisible in the psychopath system. So when we show him on the psychopath thing, it's not going to be 1,050 or something stupid. It's going to be like 55.
Right.
And it's going to be like, no way.
Or it's going to be like 3.
It's going to be so stupidly low
it's going to be
that it's going to piss off Kogami.
Well, and
because I have the feeling that Makishima is going to be the kind of person that will play well in public.
Yes.
Like he's going to be in plain sight multiple times and do very well with it.
Well, and so
also he uses other people via proxy to do most of his specific dirty work.
Some of the things that I'm very excited to see is that because I agree, I think Makishima's psychopath is going to be stupid low. They'll be able to have awesome conversations, and they won't be able to really stop him because their dominators won't work on him.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was great that they were building up this character. Whenever you build up someone that's just a real scumbag, like this girl was,
Rikako.
Yeah, Rikako. You want to see them get taken down, right? It's that sort of envy type thing from Fullmetal Alchemist.
Right.
Of course, she was much crazier than Envy, but they didn't have the good guys take her down. They had the bad guys take her down.
Yeah.
And usually, when bad guys take down an underling, when they execute them, it's usually
it's not done well.
It's not done well. It's usually a bad guy that basically loses their cool and does it out of anger or out of being petty. Right.
Yeah, and it's a little bit overused right now.
Yes.
But what he basically said
he did something way cooler.
Yeah.
He basically just said, I don't really care about you. You're kind of boring right now, which is kind of funny.
He did the "you failed me" thing.
He did.
But he's more of said, hey, do you know how you've messed up? And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, if you don't know, then you've definitely messed up.
Right.
And that's interesting because to an extent, I can infer how she messed up, but what I actually think he's referring to is something that goes beyond just leading the police there.
Yes.
Yeah. I think what it was is that he saw her perspective fully unveiled, and instead of being insulting, he's a little bit more diplomatic. Makishima heard her perspective while she was painting that green hair, and he just said, that's an interesting perspective. Which is what I say generally when I don't want to give negative feedback to someone, but I also don't want to give positive feedback to reinforce
it's like,
that.
That's different. I don't necessarily like it.
Or agree with it. But it's a perspective, and you're entitled to have that. And I think at that point, that was when he's like, I am near a sinking ship.
Right. And, and one of the things I like about that, the vibe that I get from that is not that he overly disagreed with the perspective, but rather that he saw the perspective as being boring, setting the sights too low. So it's just like, I guess this person, wasn't really all that.
Yeah. I got also the vibe that she lost creativity, or at least she had an air of creativity, but then he realized that she kind of was living in the past. Like, let's think about it from her perspective. She thinks that because she's at this kind of conservative prep girls-only school, that, there's probably a lot of those still out there in the world today, like a ton of them. Mm-hmm. But in this kind of futuristic world, it's one of the few remaining, ones left. So it's kind of a relic, like he was saying. Yeah, it's a relic. But it's not the way society is currently I mean, it is maybe a little bit representative of how the Sybil system is in society, but she focused on the wrong thing. She focused on the way that these girls are being prepped in this specific way to become models of grace and, chastity. It's like, okay, yes, that's not okay. But he's like, you're missing the grand picture here. This relic of a school is a symbol of the Sybil system and how it's creating this false peace, essentially. And she went for the details when he was looking for big picture. And when she told him her full perspective on the matter, he's like, oh, so you're kind of basic.
Right.
Well, that's boring. Okay, I'm going to go to the computers right now and cover my tracks just in case.
Right.
And so he listens in on the cops and stuff, finds the Kogami guy. He's like, oh, I should really cover my tracks now. These guys might find something. So he deletes the stuff. And unintentionally, or maybe, like you said, intentionally,
yeah.
he creates a trail for Kogami, the dog, as he's
Right,
been called, to
follow.
follow.
Yeah.
And what that is it's someone who has such a inflated view of themselves, or maybe just their own intelligence, that he goes, I am going to intentionally make it easier for them to follow me, so that we can have a moment like we were talking about where he will catch Makishima, and Makishima will be like, Makishima, not Makashima, Makishima, and he'll be like, what? My psychopath is a 24. It's a 5. It's a 50.
Yeah.
I've done nothing wrong. And he's like, no, I know it's you. It's like, oh, you heard me commenting on her art. I thought it was quite disturbing and strange, but, whatever. So, that would be so good.
That would be
You could get some amazing conversations from it.
Oh, yeah. Now, so here's something that I'm wondering.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right with the whole thing of Makishima thinking, okay, you're focusing on the specifics rather than the big picture.
Yeah.
But I think, what if it was also, like, in addition to that, you know how they were constantly quoting Shakespeare and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And Makishima is always referencing, like, books and things?
Yeah.
What if he saw that school as an ancient relic, and as such, it's a piece of history? And that she was basically wanting to destroy something of the past, and he's like... And, whereas he's shown that whole idea of, like,
he wants to protect the school, so he...
Well,
I don't think that's
not that he wants to protect the school, because he doesn't really care about the school itself.
No.
But the idea that she wants to erase something from the present that is hearkening back to the past.
Sure. I think that's too details for this Makishima guy.
Okay.
I think that would be something that a petty villain would go after. That's someone who has an emotional tie to history. I think, if anything, this guy has a more logical tie to history. He sees it as those who don't understand history are doomed to repeat it kind of thing.
Sure,
he sees society as a perpetuation of a lack of understanding regarding history.
Yes, absolutely. But whenever you have someone that's an idealist, which Makishima definitely has that kind of vibe to him, that's very much an emotionally driven thing. Now, it might be some logical thing of, like, well, I mean, they might think,
it could be. It could be.
I could see it definitely being
It definitely
that,
could be.
Where even if he uses all the logic and stuff for planning and saying, yes, this is the best future, that sense of yearning for that future that isn't here has to come from...
Sure.
Like, I hope it comes from somewhere deep inside him, because when you see a villain that truly wants something, they truly have a dream, almost, even if the dream's twisted.
No, I agree.
That makes them way more relatable.
Way better. And in terms of the dream aspect of it, that's again something that we had eluded. It eluded us this episode. There was nothing in this episode, from what I could tell, that gave us a clearer, or even, let's say it gave us a clear understanding of what his dream is. So how long do you think we're going to go before we get a clear understanding of his dream? I think we go another maybe 10 episodes.
Well,
I think, given the rate this show is going, I think we're going to have a lot of cat and mouse coming up, and it's going to go to really good spots.
Sure.
But I think we're not going to see his vision or goals realized until after, like, 10 more episodes.
Okay, I could see that. I think, though, that at the very least, so they've introduced this new guy with the mechanical robot hounds, which is terrifying and amazing.
Pretty sure he was the guy they were showing as the guy he was talking to about philosophy, and he was in his office and he was getting his suit ready, and then he shows up in the next scene to kill her.
Yeah, I think that was him. Yeah.
I still don't think we know his name. There's Chugosine or something. He was the guy that had the cybernetic eyes.
Right, and he was with Makishima watching it happen.
Yeah.
But I think they're basically introducing that guy as, like, the next one of Makishima's...
Makishima.
Yeah, Makishima.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one of his sort of toys or people that he's working with for them to take down.
No, because that's Kogami.
Okay.
The idea is that the way this show has been setting up is that he's going to divide the MWPSB or whatever.
Right. Okay.
So what Kogami is Kogami is a dog. So he's going to give the dog a bone. The dog will spin around and chase the bone. The dog's psychopaths will go up. And then Akane will have some tough decisions about how to handle her dog.
Okay, so
you know what's rough is that because he is kind of that Spike Spiegel rival guy, I kind of see some plot armor around him that he's not going to get shot by Akane in episode like 15 or 12 or something.
Yeah.
But what I could see them doing is effectively kind of segregating him out of the story. You know how they brought up this prison thing here?
For the over 300 psychopaths people?
Those are the kind of things where I go, one of the characters we know is going to end up in here, either behind bars or going in here again for some kind of plot-related thing.
Right. I think it's more of the latter. They could, if they did that where Kogami had to get locked up, that would be insane. But I almost don't think they're going to do that just because he's such a great character. They don't want to remove him from the immediate story.
No, but could you see that happening for 2 or 3 episodes?
Yeah, I could see it happening for a little bit. What I think is more likely to happen is that, if anything, what if he ended up manipulating Kogami so that Kogami's psychopath goes up above 300, and Akane has to stop him like she did in the very first episode.
Yes.
But now the thing is, if she wants to stop him with the Dominator,
it would
kill
execute him.
Yeah.
So she's not willing to shoot him, and he's not willing to calm down. They're at an impasse. And
some great drama to be had there.
If outside forces don't... Oh, wouldn't that be so sick? At one of the final scenes, her psychopath
kills him?
No. Listen to this. Her psychopath is perfect. It's been perfect this whole time, right? Makishima's psychopath is also perfect, and that's why I think he's going to move from Kogami eventually to Akane, because she's going to be someone that's in a way actually deviant because her
she's so aligned with the system.
Yes, exactly, and that just shouldn't be the case, right? It's someone like him potentially.
All right,
but when Kogami and them all have their little Mexican 3-way standoff, what if it's Kogami's psychopath is going crazy and the Dominator's only letting her shoot at Kogami? And it's just this psychological warfare talking thing where Makishima now starts to get inside Akane's head, and her psychopath, her hue, starts to get cloudy.
That could be very cool.
That's where she essentially would have to throw away the Sybil system.
Now, one of the things that I could... All right, now this
for
is
the greater
probably,
good.
Now, this theory is probably a stupid theory that's not actually going to happen. But you know how I mentioned that idea of what if the Dominators miss while they're on the kill setting?
Oh.
What if they basically use that to get rid of Makishima, because Kogami does go above 300, and he basically they do something where they're able to make it so that she misses Kogami and hits Makishima instead.
That would be hilariously like a little, just kind of a little gag trick, because it'd be so anticlimactic in some ways.
Yeah, so they're probably
this isn't that kind of show.
Yeah.
This is the kind of show that ends in a philosophical talk.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a philosophical talk with the antagonist.
Although it does look like that.
It does look like that, yeah. But I want to see psychopaths' numbers manipulated in a more direct conversational way.
Right.
Live. Like they set up Makishima and they're trying to catch him, get his psychopath score up high, and all that ends up happening is all the other people's hues get clouded.
Yeah, so okay, that would be
except
crazy.
Maybe Akane's, and that's when he goes, "You're interesting."
That would be really cool, because there are so many things they could do with that. One, there could be like some rule or whatever that like if enforcers get their psychopaths like too dang high, then they basically, like if it goes above 300, then they have to pull back or they'll get like taken down just as protocol.
Yeah, exactly.
But they could also do something where if, say, he does eventually manage to get inside Akane's head, he could get her to be pulled from the mission because they're saying you're getting too invested, right?
Right.
Just from him talking to her.
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been holding back on is this crazy theory I have. And I'm going to let it loose here because I feel like we're almost at that point where there's data supporting it.
Okay.
So one of the things I think this is going to come down to is Makishima has made his point, whatever his point is. And we have main characters wanting to take him down, but they can't. Because when they take him down, they will have proved him right. But when what I see this specifically going into is Makishima has his grand, vision to change society and stuff, right? But I think really what he wants to be able to do is to take down someone like Akane. Basically, they have their psychopath is perfect.
Okay.
And this is going to end with Akane essentially...
It ends with Akane being made into an enforcer?
Not necessarily made into an enforcer, but her basically having to choose whether or not to let her psychopaths go into the crazy high thing.
In order to stop him?
Or kill Kogami. Yeah. I don't believe in the whole gag miss thing. I
don't think that'll happen.
I think that this is going to be a thing where she and Kogami will actually, kind of stereotypically, they'll kind of get a thing for each other, but it won't go into this whole sub-arc or something. It's just going to be a little bit of attraction, a little bit of respect, a little bit of, a little bit of chemistry, and a little bit of banter and flirting, but it's going to stay serious and professional. But when it comes down to it, it'll be kind of a Riza, Hawkeye, and Colonel Mustang thing.
Okay.
And Makishima essentially has kind of made his point of how useless the civil system is at that point. Like, he is aware of his being a problem in society, but he's making a point of it by saying, you actually can't kill me. I'm untouchable. I'm a god. Not like he's going to wax crazy.
I mean,
like
they can still just
egotistical.
arrest him the normal way. But
yeah, but theoretically, maybe he could have like lawyers and he could have all this legal stuff in place to where there's actually no way to arrest him. And you think about it with cops. One of the things that in cop shows that really kills the heroes, and sometimes our vibes as well, is paperwork.
Yes.
And the whole legal thing. And Kogami is the bad cop, and he gets things done because he goes...
He does
my
things his
law,
own way.
my way or the highway. And so, and Kogami is basically the problem with the civil system, essentially, in the MWPSB. That's why... God, I always forget their names, but Inspector Ginoza, has a problem with him. He's just a ticking time bomb eventually about to go off. And this will be one of those instances where it won't go well for the protagonist.
Okay.
And either she has to take the hit, spike her psychopaths, kill Makishima, or kill Kogami and prove Makishima's right. And either way, it's going to spill over and,
All right, so I have another prediction that is not for the very end necessarily. I don't think so, but I think Ginoza is going to die. And I think it's going to be having something to do with the idea that, because if Akane ever gets to the point where she has to wonder, should I kill Kogami? The only reason it makes sense for there to be conflict is if Ginoza isn't there to do it himself.
Yes.
Because I get the feeling he would, or at least he would be way more likely to.
Right. So you're just bouncing off my theory, essentially, that Ginoza will die by my prediction, if that's a thing that happens.
Right, he'll die before your prediction, and I think it will be something where the main conflict will be, is he willing to actually kill Kogami?
I have not seen this show, guys, but I'm gonna be really weird. I have one of these things where I can kind of guess numbers right. So I'd be crazy if I'm right, but I'm gonna guess episode 17, Ginoza dies. Just structurally, 17.
Okay, because it's 2/3 of the way through the show, so it's the signifying of the third act. Okay.
I could see them going the route where he dies like episode 11. Like,
no.
Really soon.
That's going to be Masayoka.
Okay, but I could see Ginoza dying 11 or 17. Those are my lucky numbers.
That could happen, but the reason I don't
do you want to play lucky numbers with me? If any of us are right, we slap bet.
Well, no, but we're dealing with specific episodes. Like, how's that going to work?
I know, it's random. Yeah, it's a little bit of guesswork and luck.
I say that's
you
that's
want 17,
random.
don't you?
Well, see, here's the thing. I think Ginoza is definitely going to be later in the show because they can't take him out too early because he's the one overseeing them.
He's also the least developed in terms of Masayoka and Ginoza. Masayoka has a little bit of...
right.
He's not only been developed a little bit more, he's a little more likable. He's a more warmer character. So we'll feel it more if he dies earlier. It'll be a Mace Hughes thing.
But if they really... but if they really play up the conflict with Ginoza, if he has to kill Kogami, right? Yeah. If he's contemplating it, that could be how we how they make us like him as a character. Maybe he decides not to, and then one of Makishima's guys kills him or something.
Oh.
Like that'd
feel
that'd
really
be
bad.
brutal. Like I could see that happening.
Okay. Well, this is great theory time, guys. We're really loving Psychopaths and where it's going. It's quickly like moving up my little 10 out of 10 rating thing, but just having a lot of fun. And yeah, guess that's
it.
Guess that's it. Guys, we wanted to let you know that if you're watching this episode, you're watching the discussion right now. If you just finished this episode, you go check out our Patreon in the description. You can watch the next episode immediately right now with early access.
Yeah.
Just a little FYI. Yeah, shout out to all our Patreons. We just launched recently, and it was fantastic. Really, really great response. You guys are all fantastic. But yeah, that's it. All right, until next time, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.